Hello everybody. Today I want to share a little bit of my childhood. I want to share a little story or when I was in elementary school. I think I must be in fourth grade if I'm not mistaken. And I used to go in a all girls Catholic church. I went my whole elementary school. I went to that school, and it was most of the girls were like kind of rich girls or middle class to above. And I remember being always bullied by the girls at that school. They always make me feel like I was ugly, like I wasn't enough. And they always criticize the shoes that I wear or the way I talk, the way I look, and the things I have or I didn't have. And I remember feeling for the at least for the first 4 years, 4 grades, I remember feeling like lonely, with no friends, you know, like a weirdo and cast away basically. And I remember being in pain a lot because nobody will want to be my friend, or if they were my friends they will jump ship too easy or too soon. And growing up I always have problems, like sometimes as soon as I got to school they would tell me things like, go back home, this school is not for you, this is for pretty girls, rich girls, and made me feel like I was nothing, And I remember when I was in fourth grade, um, I used to have this like backpack, but it was like suitcase, kind of like a suitcase, but it was all metal strings. It was popular at that time, right? But because I was in an all-girls school, most of the girls, they were always having fancy stuff, like notebooks, backpacks, and pencils, erasers, everything fancy, like Hello Kitty kind of stuff, all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and all these things fancy. And girls were always talking about, oh, my parents took me to McAllen, Texas, or whatever place, and they bought me this, and they were always bragging about the things that they will get coming to this side, because I'm Mexican, so I was raised in Mexico, and I went to school in Mexico, obviously. And they were always talking about all this fancy pretty stuff that they will have or get from here. And I remember feeling sad because I didn't have all those fancy things, fancy stuff, and I couldn't fit with my friends group or schoolmates group, whatever. And I remember one day, after too many episodes of they basically um, telling me that I didn't belong to in the school, that I was out of place. Um, I guess I was too fucking sad. And my daddy, I remember, he asked me what was the problem, and I told him, well, the girls at my school, they say that I am unworthy, and I'm poor, and because I'm poor, I'm nothing, and they always telling me that I shouldn't be in that school because that school is not for me, that I didn't belong in that place. Because they used to tell me like I was, like a um, native person, like they were better than me, and I was, less than any other girl. They will tell me like, I'm sure you walk barefoot in your house, your family doesn't have money for your shoes, and blah blah blah, shit like that. And I remember my dad um, took me outside to the street in front of our house. And at that time, my dad was we were building the house, because in Mexico you build your own house. I mean, you can buy houses, but most of the people build their own houses. Houses over there are bricks. They're not like here. You will not find wood houses, or it's not common. And most of the people build their houses. It takes years, obviously, because it's a little bit of let me fix this. Okay, sorry. So yeah, people build their own houses, so that way you can build your house on your own choice, with whatever rooms, bathrooms, whatever. And at that time, my dad, remember, he was like, I don't know, he was like the second year, maybe the third year, building our house. And it's a big motherfucker house, with a big 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 land. And he showed me, and he said, look, the house, it's not like we don't have money, and I don't want to buy you fancy things, or you cannot afford the school. It's just like, I am building this house for you and your brothers, and this is more important. People can talk, but they don't know exactly what's going on in each family. So you shouldn't be feeling bad, because your dad is working hard to build a home for his family. They don't see it, but they will see it when the house is finished. And even if they don't see it, it doesn't matter. There's more important things in life than a fancy backpack or fancy clothes. um, we were young. I think I was like 9 approx. Yeah, because I was in 4th grade. And my dad told me, look your house. Look, you think if we were poor like these girls say, I could be, making this project or working on all this. And you shouldn't feel bad anyway. Even if we were poor, you shouldn't feel bad, because money money is just something that we use to have a comfortable life. But what is important is what we have here, the way we act, the behavior and everything. So he told me that those kids were nothing like better than me or above me or anything, that we weren't poor, and I shouldn't be crying, because I remember being crying. I mean, I was a little kid, and I remember being crying because I feel offended, and I didn't exactly understood what poor means, because obviously if I will understand what was going on, I will see like, nah, because obviously I was aware that we were building our house, but I was bullied so much that everything that they will tell me will make me cry and be depressed. And I remember my dad giving me this lecture and telling me basically that I shouldn't feel bad, regardless if we have money or not. And people are like to flex and all that. They're basically empty inside, and the only way they can feel better with themselves is by showing off empty and material things. Basically, that was the lesson that my dad gave me. And my dad was working in a phone company. He was doing good. He had enough money for everything. We were doing good. At some point, he had his own company, construction company, and he worked his ass off from not having nothing to get a career. And actually he have a master. I think he was engineer, electromechanic engineer, and he have a master degree. And he was very, very, very intelligent, very resilient, strong, and he built his empire from nothing, because when he got married with my mom, he was nothing. He was working and going to the university at night, and working hard to be something, because he was poor. His mom was poor, and he came from nothing. He actually did walk barefoot, you know and he had one idea in his mind, and he was always thinking like he will work hard to be somebody in life, and be enough to provide for his family, so his family, his kids, doesn't live in those conditions. So he was very humble, smart, but very humble. And he had a little bit of pride, but because he knew what kind of people or what character he had. So but he was humble. He never feel better than nobody. He just knew that he was capable of everything that he put his mind or set his mind on. He have a lot of willpower, and he did build an empire. But unfortunately, around 94, I think 1994, in Mexico, there were like I don't know, a recession, I don't know how you call it, when the dollar went up, obviously, and the peso went down, and a lot of people lost properties, companies, people killed themselves because they were, bankruptcy, etc. It was very bad. And my dad lost almost everything but the houses, because he had two houses. and he built both of them. And then he lost the company, but he didn't lose his job, and he didn't stop going to school. He got a master degree after all that. But he was always very resilient. He was always with a lot of motivation to keep going no matter what. And those were a lot of good lessons that I learned from my dad. Not letting other people's projections ruin your future and your dreams, basically. And no matter if you lose everything, you can always rebuild, get up and rebuild again. And the money basically doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean shit. I don't demonize money, but I don't care, I will be with zero money, and I will be the same person as if I have all the money in the world. I don't care. I learned a lot of lessons, because when my dad lose the company, after we have it all, money and all this, cars and a lot of shit, we went from 10 to 0 basically. And there were days where we couldn't eat because my dad just couldn't, buy food until, nighttime and shit like that. We have very hard times. We were kids, but we went through it, and we learned a lot of lessons from it. After a couple of years, I think 3 years, my dad stabilized his money and everything, and slowly he started rebuilding. He didn't rebuild the company though, but he could, gain enough money again to provide and have food on the table and everything that we need. But he never gave up, even though he have some medical problems. He never gave up. He have a lot of willpower. His mind was very, very powerful, that he came up from a lot of medical problems that he had until the last time. But he teach me a lot. He taught me how to be strong and don't let myself be deceived by money, by material things, So that's why I don't care about material things. I don't care about having fancy clothes or fancy this or fancy that, even though there were moments where I was doing good or better than now. I really don't care. I will spend my money on food, and that's, I say it before, that's my thing, food and perfumes. But I learned a lot on my childhood about how to handle your money and what money really means, and how people get tricked by the trickster, thinking that money is happiness, that if you have money, you are better than others just because you have more money, more cars, or your house is bigger, or you have the last iPhone. I call it bullshit. I really call it bullshit. I learned when I was a little kid, when I have it all and I will go every weekend to eat in a fancy restaurant with my dad, and then not having food on my table, I learned about being humble. I learned the meaning of money, the meaning of family, you know, and fighting for your dreams and being strong, mentally strong, and not letting nobody come and fuck with your life, basically. So I just sharing this because I think it's very important in these times. Everything is super expensive, and people is still spending money in stupid shit that it doesn't give you nothing, you know. It may help you to feel happy for a little bit until the next thing is out, and then you go and buy the next thing, and then it's just a waste of money instead of building a legacy for your kids, you know. And then if you don't understand how to use your money, you're gonna tell your kids to be just like you, and all the empire that you build is gonna be trashed by your kids. Because if you don't teach your kids how to properly manage money and see the worth of a whole life of work, you know, they're not gonna see it. They're just gonna be asking for things and uploading selfies about fancy restaurants, fancy trips, and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, it's beautiful that you have the money to do all these things, but money is nothing for real if you are empty inside. It's just superficial stuff. So what I learned from all this was like, no matter what, in poverty or richness, whatever, wealth, you shouldn't change. Money shouldn't change you. And money should be something that you use against other people to make them feel less than you just because you have more money. You know? Like people that abandon their families, their friends for money because others have more than you, and then they decide to just abandon you because you don't fit the life that they want to live in, because they have twisted thoughts about money, about happiness. Okay? And since I was a kid, I learned what money means. I learned what family means in poverty or wealth. Family is first. And if we have everything today, we may lose everything tomorrow. But family should be always there, standing there with you. And that is more important than anything. And that's what I learned from my daddy, from all the experiences that we live with him growing up. And I can tell you, my brothers, they never were like that neither. Never. We always been humble about money, no matter how much we have or had. We know that family is the most important thing. Family and God. Because without God, you don't have nothing. Because even if you have everything, if you are ungrateful, God is going to punish you and make you lose everything. If you don't give the right worth to it, you know, to family and other things. If you worship money more than anything, you're gonna lose it, because money isn't shit, ain't shit. And yeah, I know for whatever reason, a big time, for a long time in my life, people thought that I was like a brat because how I look, you know, and because I'm very quiet and I keep to myself. I don't like to talk with people too much. I am not social at all. And people thought that it was because I was just a brat, like I was feeling better than other people, but it was not that. I am not like that. I like to be by myself because I am an empath. I always been like this, and I can read the energy of people since I remember. And I don't like to be around people that make me feel some kind of way. I like to protect my energy, my life, my person, my thoughts. And a lot of times I have bad friends, bad influences, and I fuck it up. But still, I always try to keep by myself, to myself, um, my own energy. But people always judge me for how I look. They will say either I'm a brat or I'm a whore. um, Nowadays, I understand there is envy, jealousy, because yes, I'm pretty. I know. And I'm confident to say it because I know after all the bullet, after all the things I went through, one day I finally find myself in the mirror and I noticed that I wasn't ugly. I noticed that I wasn't all the things that people call me, all the girls call me. I found out that I was more than that. And that's why they were jealous and envy and try to make me feel otherwise. But all that was projection from them to make me feel the way they were feeling. And I still have that problem. I'm 44. I'm an old lady that is always inside her home, minding her own business, taking care of her family. And bitches still talk shit about me. Men and women still speak dirt on my name out of jealousy, out of envy. But it is what it is. I cannot control nobody. I just can't. I have to be myself and be authentic, be who I am. It's the only thing that I can do. And I share all this because if you really think about it, none of that money, iPhones, cars, houses, trips, none of that really worth your happiness, your family, the love, a real friendship. Money doesn't worth nothing, okay? That's not real happiness. It's good to have money and it's good to work hard to get it. But nobody should put it above family and friends and any human for that matter. Money doesn't make you better than nobody. It's just more dollars in your pocket. That's what it is. But you're not better than nobody. Because the good things that we have as a humans come from our soul, from our heart. If you think that because you have money you can buy a man, a woman, a friend, you're wrong. Because nobody ever is gonna be loyal to you if you think that you're gonna get it using your money. So these are lessons that I cherish in my heart from my daddy. I wish people could think more about these things and look around how the world is fucked up. Every day is fucked up because people just care about money, care about what they're gonna flex or brag about in social media. And people is losing morals, values, all these things that are more important. People change families and friends for money. And then when you least expect it, you're gonna be alone. And all the money and all the things, all the fancy stuff that you got, they're gonna be rotten on earth when you die. And you're gonna be alone. Because I'm gonna assure you something. Nobody ever is gonna be loyal to you if they're with you just because of money. There's no way. That's not loyalty. That's greed. So I'll be back with another video. Thank you for watching. I love you all.